or let me say, the greater population of the Akpoto-speaking people, they tend to assume the nomenclature Idoma. But an Otukpo man is not Idoma, he is Akpoto. An Ogbadibo man is not Idoma, he is Akpoto. That is their distinct dialectical identity. But the cosmopolitan nomenclature or name is Idoma. But because they are seemingly more in population, they seem to have swallowed that name or nomenclature Idoma. So if you go by that, every Igede person is an Idoma. But the Igedes are not Akpoto. The Igedes are not Ufia. The Igedes are not Akoya. They are a distinct people group. Why is this very, very important? If you go by some historical accounts, even the Kwararafa was not a kingdom of one single language. It was a confederacy of various tribes who understand that smallness is vulnerability. And when you bind yourself with other tribes and you become a bigger entity, that force that you need to command that brings you safety and survival is in place. So Kwararafa was also a confederacy comprising of people groups that do not have the same dialect. The dialect of the Jukun people may just have one or two similarities with the Akpoto, but it is entirely different. If you talk of dialectical affinity, the Akpotos have more resemblance with the Alagos of Nasarawa State, the Yalas of Cross River State, and the Etes of current Enugu Ebonyi State. Those are the people that share more common cultural or dialectical affinities. It is important for the new generation to understand that. So, if the fathers of the Igede tribe agreed to that confederacy, then the nomenclature Idoma is binding on their successive generations until any form of referendum that gives them autonomy or cessation from the confederacy is achieved. But as long as there is no referendum yet that creates a cessation or autonomy for the Igede people, that nomenclature Idoma is still binding on them. That is why the Ochidoma is the current chairman of the Idoma Area Traditional Council. Very, very important to note. So, the younger generation must be able to act with facts, objectivity, rather than the emotions that have been traded on social media that is creating a bad blood between people that should have existed together as a common entity or in a bond of brotherhood. I will not conclude this broadcast today without sounding or leaving a note of caution and counsel. These silent agitations that have now become loud are but a sign that we must go back to the drawing boards and revisit the terms of our relationship as a people in the Benue South. The law was made for man and not man for the law. Therefore, the sensitivities of the people for whom the laws were made should become the basis for the legislative debates and the public discourse towards possible amendments to the existing chieftaincy laws of Benue South. I am of the opinion that the chieftaincy laws of Benue State are very ripe for amendment. Why are they ripe for amendment? The chieftaincy law of 2016 actually is one that is, in my opinion, is flawed. Why is it flawed? It did not capture the sensitivities, the nuances, and the cultural histories of a lot of the people groups in Benue State, especially on matters of chieftaincy. I don't have any record where that law was subjected to public hearing. Because if it was subjected to public hearing, we would have been able to make our unique contributions as the various people groups of the Benue South into the final blueprint of that law. 2016, we were very aware. We were on the field, protesting and agitating for the right of Benue people to live peacefully in their farming communities without the fear of invasion and killings from these herdsmen terrorists. We were out on the trenches then in 2016. So we're very, very much aware of the issues and events of Benue State. I don't have any record where it was subjected to public hearing. And you see that by virtue of that chieftaincy law, a lot was not captured that should have given a sense of balance to the issues of chieftaincy within the Benue South. I think that is a topic for another day. But all of these agitations from the Igede people, we are not Idomas, Idomas, we are not Idomas, you are Idomas, we are not Idomas, you are Idomas. Number one, our elders need to sit down and tell the history very well. And number two, the younger generation needs to revisit this history and understand where we are coming from and the terms that bound us together in a confederacy. And if a people group are beginning to agitate, we are not Idoma, we are not Idoma, we are not Idoma, and we don't want to be Idoma. In fact, in the last public hearings on constitutional amendments, there were memorandums from groups who felt that Igede should go with the Cross River. And some say, let the proposed Apa State be amended into Apa Agba State to capture the sensitivities and sensibilities of the Igede people. All of those debates, we will lay them to rest if our elders sit down together. And then an executive bill is taken to the Benue State House of Assembly that revisits this matter of chieftaincy in Benue South, particularly that has a history of kingship. If it is revisited and then we are able to come to terms as to how we want to run our traditional institutions, then a lot of these matters will be laid to rest. We are not bound to what has been written in the law if we are advancing as a society. I think what makes us civilized people is the ability to look into our laws and see necessary amendments that will make for advancement of society, and then take the courage to make those amendments in the interest of the people for whom the laws have been made. This is very, very essential, even as I conclude here today. So when that time comes, that this is subject to public discourse and legislative debates, I believe we'll be able to collectively agree as to what aspects of the law to uphold, or what aspects to fine-tune, or even what aspect of the law to repeal. But for now, Idoma is not a dialect. Idoma is an arrangement of people that includes the Igede